Hello everyone, welcome to part 1 of using Tyflow to simulate particle motion. First we're going to draw ourselves a plane and then quickly change the color to white so we can see the particles later, and change the length and the width to 50 meters by 50 meters, and then segments to around 100, and then we'll quickly change the default shading to wireframe, and then next we go to the modify tab, go to displays, and then include a map in our images bitmap. Select a nice map and then increase the strength to see the effects on the plane. You can keep it at 5. And then go to turbo smooth to smoothen the lines out. And then let's go back to plane so we can make the plane a lot more smaller, so it's easy for us when we are simulating the entire thing at the end. And then let's go back and change to default shading. I'm gonna make it smaller, just for my preference. It's 10 by 10. And then we'll go to Tyflow, we'll open the icon, and then we're gonna go to modify tab to open editor. We're going to minimize the tab, move it to the side of the screen so we can see our plane as well. First we're going to add birth, and from which we're just going to adjust the start to 0, 0, and amount to 300 for now, and 3000. And then let's go and add our position object underneath birth. Here we're going to go and pick the plane, and instantly you will see the particles on the plane. And then we scroll down, and then we go and close our plane so we can only see the particles. We can zoom in and see the particles are quite small, so we're going to go to shape and add shape under position, in which we are going to go and select 2D, and that's you into geosphere's sphere, and then scale it to 100, in variation for 40, and then we go back to display and change from small objects to geometry, and then to fix the shape again, we're going to go back and change the scale to 10. And now you can see the particles a lot better. Next we are going to go and add surface flows. So this is how we are going to force the molecules to move, and in force we are going to keep it as 0.5 meters. And we're going to go and pick our plane, and you see how it's a bit too fast, so we're going to keep the force at 0. And then we open our material editor, in which you right click on the surface, you select material maps, and then go to a general map and select noise, and that's you. We are going to change it as exploit map channel. And in the noise parameters we are going to change the size to 0.2, and then we go back to texture, click on the new map, or we can just simply drag the map to new map and copy it as instance, and then scroll down, and then we're going to change the gradient to 0.02 or 0.04. That's a bit too much. So 0.01. Okay, we to the particle. So you see it dispersing at one point, right? We're gonna then go ahead and change the accuracy to around 64. And next we're gonna go ahead and add object bond. And we're gonna pick the plane as the object. So that means we are binding that animation to the plane. And then we are going to see that the motion is now restricted to the plane. But next we're going to go and zoom in and see that all these particles sort of bounce and merge, and it doesn't bounce off each other. So then we're going to go ahead and add slow. And in slow we're going to change the axis to 40. So when you move it in top view, you will see how the motion is very slow. And then next we are going to give physics to these particles. So it's particle physics. You're going to enable particle attractions, and then when you play, you're going to go back and increase the number of particles. So we'll see you guys soon in part 2. Thank you for watching.